When it comes to comic book universes, it can be difficult to make new and interesting stories. The inherent serialization of the narrative makes it difficult to effect any meaningful changes to the status quo. Just look at how many times characters like Jean Grey have been killed only to be brought back months later. This is why stories set in the future can be so much fun. Welcome to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Andrew Boyd, and today we will be looking at the 10 most powerful villains from Marvel 2099. Let's dive in. Number 10. Vulture. First up, we have this cyborg from the future. We first met Vulture when he was going by the name Queeg and living in the ruins of Nueva York. Other post-apocalyptic people who talk about him say that he is one of the greatest hunters in the world in his time. He's not technically from the 2099 timeline, otherwise known as Earth 928, but is actually from an alternate possible future timeline that has been designated Earth 15,329. This timeline was created when Miguel O'Hara became trapped in our present day and couldn't get back to his version of the future. Miguel was able to create a portal that would let him travel to the future for 10 minutes at a time, but Queeg found out about this and set up camp in the future, waiting for the portal to open so he could go to our present day. And yes, I know how convoluted this sounds. This is why I generally don't like when Marvel tries to do time travel stories. When Queeg got to present day New York, Miguel recognized him as a villain from the future called Vulture. Having not yet experienced this, Queeg was confused, but eventually decided that he liked the name so much that he adopted it, making Spider-Man kinda responsible for naming the villain through some weird time travel paradox. Vulture is a gifted hunter and strategist whose cybernetic enhancements grant him increased strength and allow him to keep up with and go toe-to-toe with Spider-Man and the 2099 version of Captain America. He has had 5 appearances in the 2099 comics and therefore hasn't gotten the chance to show how capable he really is, but perhaps he can earn a higher spot in our future, which would of course be his past. Number 9. Vulture 2099. In the 2099 story, New York kept expanding and eventually ran out of room, so they began building upwards instead. The more wealthy citizens got to stay in the new upper city while the poor and downtrodden were left in the old undercity. In order to survive, they formed various gangs, or cliques as they refer to them as. Some of these cliques are the Throwbacks, the Scavs, the Trumps, and the Authorities. The largest of these groups are called the Freakers, and they are led by the 2099 version of the Vulture. Like the original Vulture, this guy uses a winged flight suit in order to take to the skies and attack his enemies. He doesn't seem to have the intelligence of the original Adrian Toomes, so it is unlikely that he developed the wingsuit himself, but however he attained it, he makes good use of it. Unlike the original Vulture, his wings are sharpened to a razor-sharp point, allowing him to swoop down and instantly behead his enemies. He first appeared in Spider-Man 2099 Volume 1 Issue 6, where he rescued Spider-Man from the futuristic private police force known as Public Eye in hopes that Spider-Man would help him destroy the evil Alchemex Corporation so he could have control of the skies. Any inclination Spider-Man had to help the Vulture with his goals was quickly destroyed when he discovered that the Vulture had been cooking and eating the bodies of his fallen foes. As he said in his second appearance in Spider-Man 2099 Issue 7, "Oh come on, Spider-Man, didn't you ever hear of finger foods?" Number 8. Jigsaw 2099. Originally known as Multi-Fractor, this villain was a Gravball player, whatever the hell that means, who made a turn to crime as an enforcer for the Cyber Nostra group. He was an experienced combatant who was able to effectively stand up to the 2099 version of the Punisher before eventually being killed by the futuristic anti-hero. His body was found by a mortician who had made a really bizarre career pivot into being a veterinarian. For some reason, this made him capable of bringing Multi-Fractor back from the dead. He replaced one of the villain's arms with that of a gorilla and the other with a robotic one sporting a massive razor-sharp hook. He also seems to have giant goat legs for some reason. Despite being able to bring a dead guy back to life, the vet was unable to make the end result cosmetically pleasing, but Multi-Fractor actually really dug his new look. He went after the Punisher again, but had adopted the name Jigsaw due to his stitched-together appearance. He was a formidable foe for Punisher, but was eventually defeated and found by a gang who he took control of and led until ceding leadership to his old boss, the Fearmaster, but more on him later. Number 7. Tiger Wylde. One night in the country of Latveria in the year 2099, a portal opened, spitting out a man dressed as the long-disappeared ruler of Latveria, Victor Von Doom. Despite the fact that the man under the mask was far too young to be the real Doom, he somehow had all the original's powers and memories. He set about reclaiming his throne, as he soon discovered that the country was under the control of a dictator named Tiger Wylde. Tiger had been a high-level executive for the evil Alchemex Corporation before leaving the company and taking over Latveria. Although he had saved the nation from being taken over by the corporate forces that had seized control of many of the planet's other nations, he now ruled the nation with an iron fist, squashing any who dared oppose his rule. Doom used his power armor to cut through Tiger's security to get to the new Latverian ruler. He confronted him, but was shocked when Tiger turned out to be a cyborg with enhanced strength and the ability to redirect the energy in Doom's suit to overload him and take him out of commission. He removed Doom's mask, seeing that this man who seemed to have all of Doom's memories was not disfigured. He took the opportunity to make the new Doom more historically accurate before having him sent away. It was only through the help of Wylde's tarot reader, Fortune, that Doom was able to survive, upgrade his equipment, and eventually overthrow Wylde. There are other 2099 villains more powerful than Tiger Wylde, but the fact that he was able to take over a country and defeat Dr. Doom in combat makes him worth mentioning. By the way, Doom isn't on this list as he doesn't really do anything too villainous in the 2099 timeline. Number 6. Fearmaster. Daryl King was a board member of the dictatorial Alchemex Corporation in charge of the private police force known as Public Eye Unlimited. At the same time, he was also secretly leading the criminal cartel known as Cyber Nostra, proving that even in the future you need two jobs to make a decent living. Daryl used his unique position to play both sides and enrich himself while avoiding detection, going under the alias Fearmaster for his criminal activities. He was given a mutated hand by an alien entity called Kelmizadek, which let him calcify or turn people's flesh into minerals such as gold, stone, and everything in between. It also let him de-age people. He called this power the Midas Touch, and used it to create a display room called the Endymion Room, where he kept the altered dead bodies of all the women he had touched and transformed over the years. He was one of the main antagonists for the 2099 Punisher, although he mostly fought the Punisher with his connections and by sending hired assassins after him rather than directly confronting him. Even so, he is a powerful villain, both due to his political power and his superpowers. Number 5. Goblin. The 2099 version of Spider-Man has 2099 versions of several of the original Spidey's enemies, such as this version of the Green Goblin, simply known as Goblin. The Goblin is really a Catholic priest, Father Jennifer D'Angelo. Her goblin suit was the source of her powers, which allowed her to fly with giant purple wings and shoot energy blasts at her enemies instead of pumpkin bombs. The suit also granted her super strength and was capable of projecting hallucinations, an ability she used to trick Spider-Man into attacking civilians that she had made look like her. Her goal is to replace Spider-Man as the defender of downtown Nueva York, as she believes that Spider-Man is a corporate tool, but her methods and willingness to team up with criminals like the 2099 Vulture earn her a spot on this list of villains. Number 4. Flipside. During the heroic age, an android called Flipside was created and programmed to emulate the powers of whatever superhero it first came across. It was eventually found by a band of thieves who believed the robot was broken. It was actually still in scanning mode, trying to find a hero that matched its records. When Flipside encountered the Spider-Man of 2099, he scanned him but had trouble recognizing him, as he clearly was not the original Spider-Man he had on file. In order to complete its objective, the android combined the templates it had on file of the original Spider-Man and the original Venom to create its personality and power set. He came to life and jumped into Spider-Man's arms, declaring himself to be Spidey's new best friend. The merged personalities caused him to become psychotic, telling Spider-Man, "I'm gonna be your bestest friend for the rest of your whole life if that's okay with you, and if not, well fine, then I'll kill ya." When Spider-Man rejected him, Flipside began using his powers to kill all the nearby scavengers, seeming to shrug off their bullets. Spider-Man managed to defeat him, but once he left, Flipside merely reassembled himself and kept killing the scavengers. Number 3. Electro 2099. This version of Electro is actually an android who was designed to be a construction worker. Unfortunately, his masters were not satisfied with his work, and much like the bosses here at Top 10 Nerd do when they aren't pleased with our performances, the android was sold to torture experimenters. No, really, haven't you ever wondered what happened to all the other hosts this channel has had? Only Amanda has a fan base big enough to keep her safe. Torture experimenters were people who used robots to test the effectiveness of the various torture methods they were developing in the dystopian nightmare that is Marvel's 2099. When the android was being tortured with electricity, however, the overload fried his obedience chip, making him self-aware and able to rebel against his masters. A generator accident gave him electric powers such as electrokinesis, energy absorption, and flight, and he took took on the identity of Electro, joining the new version of the Sinister Six in order to take on the Spider-Man of 2099. Number 2. Venom 2099. Kron Stone is actually the half-brother of the 2099 Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara. He is a ruthless psychopath who gets a perverse thrill from hurting other people. He was a mercenary working with the infamous Skin Posse until he was seemingly killed in battle and dumped in the sewer. It turned out that when he entered the water, he was not quite dead, and he floated through the sewer system until, by total coincidence, he came across the Venom symbiote that had caused Peter Parker all those troubles years ago. The symbiote had been hiding for years, maturing, but once it bonded with Kron, it transformed him into the new Venom. He possesses all of the original Venom's powers, such as super strength, agility, web slinging, and the like, but as the symbiote has had more time to mature, it has also developed more powers that this Venom can take advantage of. The new Venom has acidic blood and saliva, not unlike the xenomorphs featured in the Alien series. He devoted himself to destroying the new Spider-Man's life by trying to kill him and his loved ones, even managing to fridge Spidey's love interest, Dana. Spider-Man soon discovered Venom's weakness to sonics and used the citywide intercom system to defeat and capture his estranged brother. Number 1. Brimstone Love. In the 2099 timeline, one of the most twisted and evil sources of entertainment is the theater of pain. They used human misery as the main attraction, putting on sadistic displays for the crowd. Their leader is perhaps the most evil and ruthless of them all, Brimstone Love. He claims that he draws his power from the molten core of the earth, and he channels it into his powerful pyrokinesis. He used this ability to easily burn through the steel walls of the 2099 X-Men's headquarters and fight the mutant Skullfire. While Skullfire was able to draw his power from nearby energy sources, he soon exhausted all the nearby energy and was soon defeated by Brimstone, who has no limit to how much fire he can cast due to his source of power being the earth itself. In addition to his pyrokinesis, Brimstone Love also has super strength and durability and teleportation powers, which allowed him to hold his own in a fight against the entire X-Men team, only being defeated once one of his own team turned against him and used the Theater of Pain's telepathic technology against him in X-Men 2099 issue 25. Any other 2099 villains you think I should have listed? Want a similar list featuring the far superior villains of the Batman Beyond universe? Tell us in the comments below, and remember to like and subscribe for more Top 10 Nerd.